You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing daily, hopefully. Hello, you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, and it rather looks like we've hit an emergency podcast today. Now, it's possible that I have already explained why I'm doing this yesterday, or it might be that something's happened, I'm really tired or something, and there's a reason why I can't. But because I am determined to do a podcast every day in August, I do have, as I've already explained, at any one time there's always an extra one in the bank, so that if I can't record, it's there. There is something to put out, and this is it. So what I thought I'd do today was this random question generator thing that I've done in the past. So I've gone onto a website this one's called learnhip.com. It's a random conversation topic. And the first one, it says, what food did you used to not like but now enjoy? And that's a really easy one, pizza. I remember my first slice of pizza was at school. It was my middle school, so I was 8 or 9. And pizza wasn't that regular a thing then. I'd certainly never had it at home. And I thought it was absolutely vile. I couldn't understand why anybody would want the bloody thing. Maybe it was just different to what I was used to. Maybe it wasn't a very good pizza. I've no idea. But I loathed pizza when I first tried it. Whereas now, obviously, being a person who's grown up in this century, I quite like it. Okay, next question. Have you ever ridden a horse or another animal? I have. I actually took riding lessons when I was younger. I think mainly because my sister did riding lessons and I was jealous and didn't want her to have something that I didn't. This is when I was quite young. And I'm trying to think if I've ridden anything else. I've ridden a camel in Egypt, and I think that might be it. Something else may come to me, but I think horse and camel are the only ones that I remember writing. Next question. Please, next question. Do you get on well with your neighbours? Now, that's not a question I'm prepared to discuss on the podcast. Do many people own stocks and shares in your country? I've no idea. I don't. I have done in the past, but I don't know. Are there any English words that you find funny? No, these aren't very good, are they? Do you think children should be taught about sex at school? Yeah, why not? And they should be taught about the consequences of it as well. I haven't got kids, so I guess if I had kids and knew what their disposition was like, maybe I'd think differently. But of course they should be, because otherwise it's just going to be weird and they're not going to understand it and they'll do silly things, whereas at least if they're taught about it, they'll understand the potential consequences of it. What was the best decade for pop music? Well, I think this is a bit of a loaded question because it'll be whatever decade was the main decade you listened to music in as a kid. So for me, it was the 80s. So for me, I will always say the best decade for pop music was the 80s. But somebody 10 years younger than me, would say the 90s. And indeed, someone 10 years older than me would probably say the 70s. So I think it's literally what you were used to. It was when you were a teenager, I'm guessing. Is your town changing in what ways? Well, it's getting quite a lot bigger. So we finally have a cinema. We haven't had one for years. And it opened. Well, actually, it was being built during COVID and the delay was launched, I think, because of COVID. But yes, we have a cinema. There's a lot of new housing projects being built. There was talk of a canal extension being built into the town, which I think is a great idea, but people generally didn't like that idea. And there's this field that was going to be turned into a marina, which I think would have been absolutely wonderful. But I think generally nobody liked the idea, so I don't think it's happening. But yeah, it's getting bigger. There's also a bit of controversy because they built right next to the country park. So at the moment, or in the past, the views out of the country park was more fields, and now it's houses. But the country park is still lovely. It's just it's got properties much closer to it than it used to have. Have you ever been bitten or stung by an animal? I don't think I've had any serious animal bites. I'm sure my dog at some point will have nipped me if I trod on its foot or something. I don't remember anything bad. I was stung by a bee or a wasp once whilst cycling, and it basically flew into my cycle helmet. Got trapped between the cycle helmet and my head because it was one of those ones with the holes in it, and stung me, not quite the top of my head. It was about 2 inches above my eye, and it was a bit painful, but no big deal. But over the next couple of days, for some reason, loads of fluid built up on that side of my face, and my eye expanded. Well, my eye didn't expand, but the skin around it expanded, so it looked like something out of a horror movie and practically closed up. And yeah, it was very interesting. I did take a couple of photographs and share them, and everybody was like, "Ugh, that looks disgusting." Are you a heavy or a light sleeper? I don't know. I guess I honestly don't know. I think normally it's somebody who sleeps around you that gets to know that. I feel like I'm a light sleeper because little things wake me up, but I honestly don't know. Final question then. How would you spend your perfect birthday? Not doing too much, to be honest. I'm not really into massive parties and stuff. A very small select group of friends and do something. So not be in the house, but maybe go out and have a meal or something like that. I'm not really into birthdays. They're things that happen and remind you that you're getting older. But that's a bit of a miserable question. So I'm going to get one more. Hopefully it'll be something I can be more cheerful about. What would you do if you had more free time? I would write a lot more. I would holiday a lot more. One more. Have you ever eaten in a very expensive restaurant? Yes. I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 2012. I was dating a lovely Dutch girl called Manon, and a friend of the family got a Michelin star. And I think it was just 1 or 2. It wasn't the top end, but then, even the bottom end of the Michelin category is amazing. And he had this 12-course meal, which we actually got very cheaply. I think we basically paid for the ingredients. And it was served to us, and obviously, and what was really impressive about it was the waiter was explaining each course and the flavour combination. Oh, he was a wine expert. There's a proper word for that, and I can't remember what it is. But he was telling us all about what the wine pairings and why this particular wine was paired with this particular meal. And as well as speaking to everybody in Dutch, he was able to also do it in English for me. And so, yes, it was, I dread to think how much it was, even with the discount, but it was a treat, but it was absolutely delightful. That was in The Hague, in the Netherlands. Right, there we go. So that was my emergency podcast for the day. Thank you for listening. I will hopefully be back with a normal podcast at the same time, or not the same time, but at some point tomorrow. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Richard Wright, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.